Hey guys, how are you doing? Welcome back to the channel. This is Rob of Rule of Two Review, and we just got a really crazy surprise that has a lot of people talking and everyone is freaking out about this. And it turns out that there seems to be some leaks of the art book that is coming with the special edition of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Now, this is kind of turning out to be a pretty huge deal, and I'm going to let you know right at the beginning of this video, I am not going to be spoiling directly what's in these photos, and I'm definitely not going to be showing or even linking to any of the photos for obvious reasons. I don't want to get shut down. There's a lot of people not quite sure about anything getting claimed or shut down and deleted by Nintendo, and I don't want to mess with any of that stuff, and I also feel like it's worth trying to spare people actual spoilers if they don't want to really know what these photos are showing. So while I might give some light surface level descriptions, I'm not actually going to go into detail on anything actually being shown because I still want to talk about this and I want people to be able to listen, but I want to spare people who are trying to avoid spoilers, right? So between making sure I don't get like struck down or closed down or whatever by Nintendo and sparing people spoilers, I'm not going to be showing or vividly describing what's seen. So what seems to have happened is that on Reddit, there's a couple of folks who either have the book in their hands or have gotten photos of the person holding the book that is showing like, it's upwards of like 50 photos of this book, of this art book and this concept art that's shown throughout this whole thing. And there's, of course, a Nintendo Everything article that's going around right now that's linking to it, and they have all of the photos shown within that article. Again, I'm not going to link to it, but if you wanted to go out and search for this stuff, it's definitely out there. So I'll leave that up to you. So before I get into my opinion on the pictures, again, without describing them in detail, I do think it's worth talking about the fact that this leak happened and maybe why or how it happened, and if it has any direct impact on the game and Nintendo's thoughts maybe on this stuff getting out there. And I just wonder if this is somebody maybe behind the scenes who like works at the factory where these things are being printed, getting access to them, because I can't imagine any of them have managed to get out in the wild. We don't really know when these things are even going to actually be making it to people's hands. This is the kind of thing where these special editions might not even arrive to people until days or weeks after the game is going to release. That happens with a lot of special editions nowadays. And in fact, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when Breath of the Wild launched and the special editions went out for that, back when the Switch itself released, I think some folks had to wait a while for even those, right? That feels correct to me. It was almost 6 years ago, but I think that happened. And so when we think of this Tears of the Kingdom special edition and the art book at hand, some people might be waiting quite a bit to even receive those. So the fact that somebody already manages to have one in their hand and is taking pictures, it's pretty crazy. Now, the discussion could be, is this real or is this fake? And you know me, I always love to discuss how I think things like this could be faked, just like with the Switch OLED leaks a few weeks ago, or maybe that was a few months ago at this point. Gosh, time is going so fast. But I actually think this is pretty legit. These photos seem pretty authentic, and the quality of this concept art as it is, you know, again, it's a concept art book. They look pretty real to me. So I feel like we can trust the photos that we're looking at, and I just wanted to put that out there. Is this the kind of thing that would make Nintendo upset, and will they go out there trying to claim these photos and anyone who's showing it in their videos? I don't really know. I kind of feel like, I mean, here's the thing. It's actually already been a few hours since this happened by the time I'm now sitting down to record this video. And from what I know, a lot of folks have shown them, and I don't think anyone's been shut down yet. And if Nintendo had the desire to do so, I feel like they already would have jumped on it pretty quickly. So part of me wonders if either they don't mind that these are getting out there, or maybe if I really go into tinfoil hat conspiracy, maybe this is almost like a controlled leak. And it's very tinfoil hat of me, but I do think a lot of video game companies, Nintendo included, do allow for certain controlled leaks to get out there just to get people excited about a certain thing. And with Tears of the Kingdom, because Nintendo has been very careful with the couple of teasers and trailers they've already put out there, I don't think it's insane for them to allow some of this concept art to get out there. Because, and this actually becomes a segue into my larger feelings about this that I think is different than a lot of other folks, I actually don't think that these 50 images of this art book are really telling us all that much anyway. I don't think that there's a lot of secrets being revealed from even 50 images of this art book. I know that a lot of folks are trying to talk about it online. You know, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter and whatnot talking about it, like, and a couple of YouTube videos where it's like, they're revealing so much. You know, this is a crazy leak. Nintendo must be furious. And again, Nintendo might be furious. I'm not saying that they're not. But I do just want to put my personal 2 cents in here as somebody who's looked at all 50 of these photos. And here's the thing. It's all very cool. Like, these photos and this concept art is awesome, and it's all very beautiful. But I'm not really getting a lot of major spoilers or major secrets from most of these photos. 1 or 2 of them, yes. There is some interesting stuff in 1 or 2 of these photos that I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. I'm surprised to see that in here. Is this even something really in the game? You know, I've gotten that kind of an essence from a few of the photos, but in general, by and large, looking at all of these photos, I'm like, yeah, this is kind of just like standard concept art stuff. And a lot of it matches with what we've seen from the teasers and trailers already. It's just, instead of being in-game stuff, it's just concept art of the same stuff they've already shown us. And so I don't really think that there's a whole lot of secrets being shown here. And again, that's why I think the general messaging I want to get across to those of you who haven't looked at these photos but still wanted to hear someone's opinions on it is I don't really think that there's a lot of secrets being revealed through these couple of photos. In general, here's the closest to describing them I'll get without actually describing them. A lot of them are just typical concept art of like characters. So you're seeing like Link and Zelda, you know, in some different outfits. And I don't think that's a big secret, right? I mean, we know there's going to be different outfits in this game. There was tons of outfits in Breath of the Wild. There's obviously going to be more of those kinds of things in this game. And it's like, you know, picture concept art of like a character from a video game or a movie or something, and you're going to see drawings of this character, maybe in different outfits, and you're going to see different angles of them. You're going to see them front on, you're going to see them from the side, you're going to see them from behind, just to see what they look like. So there's a lot of photos that is just showing characters, you know, like Link and Zelda from different angles. I'm not going to tell you the outfits they're wearing, but you're seeing a couple of different outfits, and it's all very cool art, and it looks very interesting. And, you know, the closest to spoilers someone might get from looking at these photos is they do seem to show a lot of NPCs, and NPCs we haven't seen in any of the trailers yet, so that's certainly interesting. Now, you could probably close your eyes and imagine NPCs in Tears of the Kingdom and what they might look like, and I bet your brain would come pretty close to, like, picturing these characters. Now, from what I've seen, there's no English text describing what's in these images, so the context of who some of these NPCs is not explained. You're literally just looking at drawings of characters in a Zelda game without any knowledge of who they are. They could be random people you meet that actually bring nothing to the story, or they could be really significant NPCs. We don't know. All we're doing is looking at images of what they actually look like. Now, for me, what I will say is there is a couple of pictures that we see that to me get me excited because they do show some locations. And again, everything is concept art. They're all paintings and drawings of stuff that's in the game. None of these photos are actual in-game assets. That's not what this is. It's an art book, okay? But there are some images that are very location-based and very sky-based, and 1 or 2 that might even be kind of like temple-based or puzzle-based or shrine-based. And those are interesting. Again, I don't see a lot of secrets being revealed necessarily, but I do see some indications of what they might be doing with some locations that are certainly cool and exciting. I don't think they're revelatory either, though, so that's the other purpose of this video when I talk about it not really being super spoilery, is it's really just showing more of what I think they've kind of already teased and hinted at the trailers anyway. So I don't think they're revealing any major mind-blowing things like, whoa, I never thought that was possible in this game. It's all pretty standard stuff you would probably expect to see in this art book. Even the stuff that's most exciting to me, the location-based art that is like, whoa, I love what I'm seeing. It's not blowing my mind or changing my opinion about what I thought this game was going to have. It actually is just confirming some of the things that I was already able to glean from just a few teasers and trailers we've already seen. And so I'll just say one more time something I already hinted at here. There are 2 specific pictures, and again, I'm not going to describe them, that do show, and I mean, how do you talk about stuff vaguely, right? They just show things that are very surprising. One of them is something we would already expect in the game, but to see it in this way is like very, front and center in your face. It's like, wow, you're just straight up showing that. Like, that's crazy. And so that's interesting. I don't feel like it's really spoiling anything to me because it's just looking at a thing I already know is going to be in the game. And so I'm like, okay, well, that's that. It's cool looking, and now I see it. And then there's another thing, and I'm curious if anyone who's looked at these photos already knows what I'm talking about. It's the most different thing of all 50 pictures I've seen. And I'm sure if you've looked at these photos, you know the one I'm talking about, right? It's one of those things where it's like, one of these things is not like the other. And that's the photo I'm talking about. And I'm like, why is this here? What does this mean? And it could mean nothing in terms of the final game, or it could mean something massively significant to the final game. And so that is the only one that, to me, feels like a possible spoiler, a big deal, or even the kind of thing that Nintendo would not want to get out there. It's the only photo to me that, in my opinion, you know, just guessing because I don't work for Nintendo. In my opinion, it's the only one that treads into the territory of, like, Nintendo maybe being unhappy that it's out there. Because I'm like, why would this be in this game? It's really weird to think about. And so, I don't know. I think it's crazy. And so you might be wondering why I would even look at these photos myself, because I really don't want significant spoilers about games that I care about. And I think the reason is because knowing that it's concept art, you have to understand when it comes to concept art, every concept you ever look at from an art book for a movie or a video game or a TV show, not everything makes it into the final product. So these could be they're just going to be drawings and concepts and ideas. Many that will make it into the final game, many probably won't make it into the final game. And also, as much as I love and care about the story and the lore of Zelda, I never really expected to get spoilers from that in this concept art. And because I know the game is going to be so massive and I already know what to expect from it, I really didn't think that I was going to see anything spoilery anyway that's going to really hurt my experience just by looking at it in concept art form from a book, you know? And it turns out that, at least for my own personal gauge of these things, I'm correct. In looking at these pictures, with the exception of the one really big one that I was kind of referencing here, I didn't see anything that has totally blown my mind or spoiled the experience or ruined Tears of the Kingdom for me. It's just concept art and cool images of characters and locations that we've already basically seen from the trailers. And so it's kind of only just made me more excited, because looking at a location is different than running around and exploring the location, right? Again, there are no real secrets being revealed here for the most part in these photos. So I was like, you know what? I just want to look at these photos and see if it's something that also gives me a reason to talk about it on a video. And so I think that's the reason I'm even making the video, is to let you know, even though I didn't want to spoil it for you. And again, I don't want Nintendo to shut my video down or anything like that. I don't really think that these photos are as big of a deal as your worst fears, right? If you're somebody who's terrified that these photos are out there, I don't think it's as bad as you think that they could be. And, you know, everyone has a different gauge, so you might feel differently, and so that's, again, why I didn't want to, like, really describe them in detail. But I just don't think they're as bad as many people are worrying. So I think it's cool. I think it's interesting. It's a bummer they got out there for people who didn't want to see them, and it's a bummer if Nintendo truly is upset that they're out there. But I personally didn't really get much spoiled. I just saw stuff that made me even more excited for a game that I'm dying to play.